champions, I welcome you to mock test 2 of NEET Premier League, and as I promised, this is the test for all the topics that we studied in this particular week, in the previous week. Okay, so starting from fertilization and implantation, going ahead with gestation, parturition, lactation, and then the whole reproductive health chapter, and also the chapter that we have started off new, that is human health and diseases. In that, life cycle of Plasmodium will come, and also bacterial, viral and protozoan diseases could come. Okay, so now when you give this test, please analyze your performance by giving yourself +4 marks for each correct answer, -1 for each wrong answer. Now and tell the score as well, total score. So there are 30 questions, so for every 30 question you get it correct, so you give +4, so 30 into 4 is 120 marks. So out of 120 marks, tell me your score. Okay, now if you do not want to tell me your score, it's fine, you can keep it with yourself, but you have to do it very honestly. Whenever you get it wrong, give yourself -1 mark, don't tell it to me, it's fine. If you do not want to tell it to me, do not tell it to me, but please self-analyze your performance, check for your weak areas and work on it. Yeah, that should be our whole agenda. Now, without wasting any bit of your time, my dear children, I'm going ahead with the first question. Capacitation refers to changes in the first thing. What do you mean by capacitation? This thing that I am making is known as a sperm, okay, though it does not look like one. And at the sperm's head region, there is something which is known as acrosome, which is filled with enzymes. And around the sperm, children, there is the plasma membrane. What is it? It is the plasma membrane. Okay, so I didn't draw proper plasma membrane because it's of no big use as of now. So this is the plasma membrane. Now, in simple terms, I will explain you. Capacitation means making the sperm capable of fertilization. Capacitation, capability, you can remember like that. Okay, you are going to make this little sperm capable of what? Of fertilization. How can we make this sperm capable of fertilization? That should be the next question. But I'll tell you the answer. So over here, the sperm, as I said, has a plasma membrane, and this plasma membrane is not allowing this acrosome to go and release its enzyme. Would not. It's not allowing. It will not allow the acrosome to open up and give out its enzymes. And why does the acrosome have to give out its enzymes? Because children, just imagine when the acrosome gives out its enzymes, what happens? The enzymes goes and lyses the X membrane. Now, the X membrane, when it gets lysed, then only the sperm can get into the egg and fuse with it. Now, if the enzymes are not being released, will this fusion take place? No, because the egg is covered by corona radiata, it is covered by zona pellucida, then an egg membrane, lots of things are there. So, to cleave through all these membranes, you need the enzymes, and where are the enzymes stored? Over here in the acrosome. Okay, but when a plasma membrane is there around the whole sperm's body, this will obviously affect fertilization, because this particular guy, that is acrosome, won't be able to lyse and give out his enzyme. Which is why we have to make the plasma membrane weak, and this process is known as capacitation, where the plasma membrane structure is being altered. The structure of the plasma membrane is being altered such that it becomes a little weak, and slowly when the sperm reaches the egg, the acrosome can release all of its enzyme there. Now you tell me, it happens with sperm, so wherever I see ovum, can I cancel it? Yes. Now you tell me it is the process of making the sperm capable of fertilization. So should it happen before or after? Obviously before. So after one, can I remove? Yes. What I am left with? Sperm before fertilization. This came in 2015, and if you got it correct, give yourself +4 marks. I hope this is very much clear. Can I go ahead? Yes. Question number 2. Which one of the following statements about morula in humans is correct? It came in the year 2010. It's a bit complicated question, but might not be a complicated thing for my children, right? So children, first thing, let's start off with zygote. Zygote is single celled. This zygote will divide itself into 2 cell stage. Okay, into 4 cell stage, and then into 8 to 16 celled stage, which you call as what? Morula. What do you call it as? Morula. Okay. Now during this process over here, when the sperm divides, when the zygote divides, the DNA over here, okay, when it has to give to 2 cells now, it will replicate, increase its DNA so that it can give easily to both the cells. Now again, this particular DNA again has to replicate so that it can divide the DNA into 2 other cells, and this also has to replicate so that it can give into 2 other cells. In this way, if you see, the amount of DNA is getting more. Yeah, it is increasing because each cell should be having this much amount of DNA. So obviously the DNA will replicate while each division. Now second thing, if you look at the cytoplasm, the amount of cytoplasm which is there in zygote, okay, over here in the single cell, it is actually equally distributed to all the cells of the morula. So over here, the cytoplasm is dividing into 2. Both of the cells will be having lesser cytoplasm, but if you see them as a whole, obviously they will have everything that was in there. Okay, the size is not increasing, nothing is happening like that, right? So basically the cytoplasm which was there in the zygote, it is getting divided into all the cells, okay, in the equal quantity will be having. All of them will be having equal quantity of cytoplasm. Now let's see what is our question. Which one of the following statements about morula in humans is correct? It has almost equal quantity of cytoplasm as an uncleaved zygote, but much more DNA. Does it have equal amount of cytoplasm? As I said, it might be having, right? Let's see. Let's keep this on hold. Let's go ahead. It has far less cytoplasm as well as less DNA than in an uncleaved zygote. Uncleaved as in it has not started its division. So can it have less DNA than the zygote? No. So this is wrong. I don't even have to look at this particular thing. Now second thing, it has more or less equal quantity of cytoplasm and DNA in an uncleaved zygote. So DNA again, it cannot be equal. So this is again wrong. Going ahead with the D option, it has more cytoplasm and more DNA than an uncleaved zygote. You tell me, is it correct or not? Over here you have an option like this and you have an option like this. Now you are given a choice to pick the correct option. Basically, as I said, the cytoplasm, it is getting divided into 2, but the amount of cytoplasm remains the same, right? Amount of cytoplasm in a whole remains the same. It is not asked that whether the cells of the morula have lesser or more cytoplasm than zygote. It's not like that. The question is not like that. It's talking about the whole morula. If they are asking about the cells of the morula, then obviously when you talk about 8 to 16 cell, they will be having less cytoplasm. They will be definitely having less cytoplasm. If you talk about each cell, if you talk about this particular cell that you see over here, this will have less cytoplasm than the zygote, because the zygote has divided and then comes this, right? Now over here, that is not the question. The question is the whole morula, will it be having equal amount of cytoplasm like the zygote, or will it have less or more? Well, it will be having almost equal amount of cytoplasm. So I can exclude this option because they are saying it has more cytoplasm. No, it does not have more cytoplasm. This is the correct answer, children. So remember, I'll tell you this, we have already studied this thing, that in cleavage, when I was teaching you reproductive, this particular chapter, human reproduction, I said one thing. During cleavage, the cell size, it decreases. During cleavage, the cell which was like this, it has decreased to 2 cells like this. So cytoplasm, obviously, as I said, will be reduced, then only the cell can have smaller sizes, right? Please remember that thing, cleavage, in cleavage, the cell size decreases. Okay. But as of now, we are talking about the whole morula. So whole morula will be having almost equal amount of cytoplasm as the zygote. Okay. I hope this is also clear. If you got this answer correct, if you got this complicated answer correct, give yourself +4 marks. Now, fetal ejection reflex in human female is induced by, okay, fetal ejection reflex, as in the baby says now it's time to move out of the female body, of the mother's womb or the mother's uterus. Well, this happens because of what? It is getting started off because of what? Release of oxytocin from pituitary? No. Release of oxytocin from pituitary have a major role in it. Okay, definitely has a major role in it, because when the oxytocin is being released from the mother's pituitary, what happens? This oxytocin will be going and acting on the endometrium layer of the uterus, which will be having, okay, not just the endometrium over here, sorry, not the endometrium, over here there is another layer which is known as myometrium, the muscular layer. The muscular layers has so many receptors for oxytocin. So when this oxytocin guy is released and comes and attaches over here on the oxytocin receptors, now the myometrium, which is the muscular layer, it will start contracting and make the baby move out, which is known as parturition. But who is responsible for inducing it at the first place? Oxytocin is released, but who says the oxytocin to get released? That is the fully developed fetus and the placenta. The fully developed fetus, which is there over here, children, okay, this particular baby releases something that is known as androgens. Okay, now androgens, you might be thinking it's male sex hormone, but females also have it, they also release it. Okay, so basically androgens are being produced from the baby, and this androgen is not coming from the testes or the ovary. No, it's not like that. It is coming from the adrenal glands, which is over the kidney. So over the kidney there is a gland which is known as adrenal, and it releases sex hormones such as androgens also. Now these androgens are released, and what happens inside the uterus, with the help of the endometrium, this androgen is getting converted, okay, with the help of the placenta and everything which is there, it is getting converted to what? Estrogen. Now this estrogen will say increase the number of receptors for oxytocin. Increase the number of receptors for oxytocin. So as of now, oxytocin was released initially also, but there were no receptors to welcome them. Now, if there were no receptors, obviously they cannot act. They need to go and attach on the receptors, then only they can show their work. But now what happened? The estrogen said, please increase the number of receptors. The number of receptors increased, and the oxytocin will now attach on these receptors and make the uterus contract so that the baby can move out. But who induced it? It is the fully developed fetus. It is the one that releases androgens, and then again, as I said, there will be conversion of androgen to estrogen, and this estrogen will be increasing what? Basically the number of receptors, oxytocin receptors in the myometrium layer. So this is done by fully developed fetus, children, and the placenta. It is given directly in your NCERT textbook. If you read the chapter properly, you will be able to find it. This came in 2009, and if you got it correct, give yourself +4 marks. We do not have to go for the next options as well, because we already saw the option. Yeah. Now, select the correct option describing gonadotropin activity in a normal pregnant female. So, how do we recognize that a person is pregnant? What is the first test? Urine test. Okay, in the urine you might have seen people using the strip to see that whether they have that line coming over there, right? Well, it checks the presence of an hormone which is known as HCG. Now, HCG stands for human chorionic gonadotropin. Okay, that is the meaning of HCG. And HCG is responsible for doing what? I'll tell you that. But before that, let's see the option. High level, okay, so they are saying that which one of the correct option is describing the role of gonadotropin in a normal pregnant female. So high level of FSH and LH stimulates the thickening of endometrium. First thing, it is not the correct answer. Okay, second, because when FSH and LH is high at this point of time, ovulation happen. You might have already studied that, right? When LH goes high at this point of time, the ovulation, it happens. Okay, it has nothing to do with the thickening of the endometrium. Actually, when high levels of FSH and LH are there, it won't allow the endometrium to be thickened. Okay, now high levels of FSH and LH facilitates implantation of the embryo. Again, something wrong. High levels of HCG stimulates the synthesis of estrogen and progesterone. High levels of SCG stimulates the thickening of endometrium. Now, let me make things easy from now on. So basically, I'll tell you the whole scenario over here. So, what happens during the 14th day of the cycle, of the menstrual cycle, the amount of FSH and LH, it increases. This is LH and the other one is FSH. Okay. Now, when this increases, what will happen? The graphene follicle which was holding the secondary oocyte, it will open up, it will get burst, and the secondary oocyte will come out. This process is known as ovulation. Okay. And what happens to the rest of the things? The secondary oocyte, it moved out, but what happens to the rest of the things? Now, this particular structure, the graphene follicle, is now converted to something which is known as corpus luteum. Okay, corpus luteum. I can make it more readable. Just give me a second. Corpus luteum. Fine. Now, this particular corpus luteum is responsible for releasing two things: progesterone and estrogen. But this is the main guy over here. Now, this progesterone is the one that maintains the endometrium lining. It thickens the endometrium lining such that, because ovulation has happened, now if sperm comes, both of them could fuse and they could form an zygote and then an embryo. This embryo needs a place to come and implant itself so that it can grow, right? So, obviously, it's making the proper bed and everything for the coming embryo if fertilization will happen. But during this point of time, when progesterone is being released and it's released in more amount and estrogen is being released, they go and act on their dad, that is GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. Now, when they go and act on GnRH and they say stop your secretion, this guy is responsible for the secretion of LH as well as FSH. Both of the secretion goes down. Okay, so progesterone says to GnRH, please stop your secretion. Now, when GnRH stops its secretion, LH and FSH will also stop its secretion. Now, if both of them are stopping their secretion, especially LH, the corpus luteum will now slowly start to degenerate. So, actually, it made a pit for itself, because if corpus luteum will not be there, then obviously progesterone won't be released. It's a whole cycle of events that is happening. Now, how is LH controlling corpus luteum? I told you, when LH surge happens, when it increases, that's when the graphene follicle, it breaks open and gives out the secondary oocyte. Whatever thing is left is known as corpus luteum. So, corpus luteum, lu, and over here LH means luteinizing hormone. So, this guy is responsible for maintaining this. Now, corpus luteum releases progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone goes and acts on the endometrium, makes it very thick, but when it is increased in more amount, it goes and say, GnRH, please stop your secretion. Now, both of them will stop their secretion as well. If LH is being released in less amount, corpus luteum will start degenerating. If corpus luteum starts to degenerate, will it be able to release progesterone now? No. The amount of progesterone will also go down. But if fertilization happened, if the female is now pregnant, we need the endometrium layer. We need the endometrium layer. So, for making the endometrium layer there, what do we need? We need progesterone. Okay, and progesterone is released by what? Corpus luteum. But for controlling corpus luteum, LH is obviously not there. At this point of time, placenta of the human female will be releasing human chorionic gonadotropin, which will be going and acting on the corpus luteum and helping it sustain like that, so that it does not degenerate and it can still produce progesterone and make the endometrium line thickened. So, the sole purpose of human chorionic gonadotropin is to make the endometrium line thickened. But for doing this, it cannot do it directly. It needs the help of progesterone and estrogen. Now, let's see the correct option over here. High levels of HCG stimulates the synthesis of estrogen and progesterone. This is the correct answer. Now, when this happens, then only this can happen. High levels of HCG stimulates the thickening of endometrium. So, for endometrium to thicken, this is also correct. But what is more correct? It is a direct process or not? This thing that you see over here, it's not a direct process. It needs the secretion of progesterone and estrogen, which is why C option becomes correct. Okay, so over here you see minute differences in the options could cost you your marks. This came in the year 2012 as well as 2014. So, we never know, it can get repeated more often. So, high levels of FSH and LH stimulate the thickening of endometrium. Obviously, as you saw over here, it's not like that. Okay, so stimulate the thickening, we need just progesterone and estrogen, and if this guy is there, that won't be there in high amount. This has to be in low amount. High levels of FSH and LH facilitates implantation of the embryo, same thing again. So, it does not make any sense. Okay, going ahead. Question number 5, several hormones like HCG, HPL, estrogen, progesterone are produced by. So, okay, HCG we studied just right now. What do you mean by HCG? Human chorionic gonadotrophin, right? So, HCG is there. Now, HPL is also there. HCG is there. HPL is also there. What do you mean by HPL? Human placental lactogen. It goes and acts on the mammary gland so that the production of milk could happen. Okay, so that it helps in the mammary gland's growth and development. So, it is human placental lactogen, and then again estrogen is there and progesterone is there. They are being released by the placenta as well later on when the placenta is being formed. So, the correct answer will be placenta. Remember, 4 hormones. 4 hormones, you have to remember, nothing apart from that, from the placenta. Okay. So, this is the correct answer. Going ahead, what do we have? Which of these is not an important component of initiation of parturition in humans? Which of them is not involved in the process? In the initiation of the parturition. Parturition as in the baby moving down, the expulsion of the baby outside the uterus. Okay, that is what you mean by parturition. So, which among them is not involved? So, you know oxytocin is definitely involved. We just studied, right? Oxytocin goes and binds on the oxytocin receptors in the myometrium and then it contracts. So, this is there. So, this is there. Release of prolactin, let's keep it like that. Increase in estrogen and progesterone ratio. Obviously, we studied that as well. Okay, estrogen is also increasing, which is why it is going and increasing the the receptors over there. So, this is also correct. Synthesis of prostaglandins, this is not there in your NCERT, but let me tell you, prostaglandins are also being produced in the female body and this is also responsible for contraction. So, this is a new information that you have, but you got this information when you tried to solve a question. So, kudos to the question. So, this is also correct, this is also correct. Now, prolactin, children, remember, it is a pituitary hormone. Okay, it is a pituitary hormone. And this hormone will be acting on the mammary gland and it is responsible for lactation to happen. It is responsible for lactation as in production of milk, and this is a pituitary hormone. So, it does not have anything to do with initiation of parturition in human beings. Fine. Going ahead, this was very easy, right? Going ahead, given below are 2 statements. One is labelled as assertion A and the other is labelled as reason R. Assertion A is breastfeeding during initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing a healthy baby. During the initial phase, breastfeeding has to be done to give out a healthy baby. That is the assertion. Now, reason. Colostrum contains several antibodies absolutely essential to develop resistance for the newborn baby. In the light of the above statements, so the reason is colostrum. There is something that is colostrum which is having several antibodies, and these antibodies will be providing immunity to the baby. This is the reason. Okay, now we have to choose the correct option. A is correct, but R is not correct. So A is definitely correct. We know that. R is also correct, children. Okay, so breastfeeding during initial period of infant growth, at this point of time, the milk that is being produced is known as colostrum. Okay, and this colostrum is very much rich in several antibodies. I am not saying the name of the antibody as of now because there is a question. I want you to solve that. Okay, so basically this is very much important. This is very much correct as well. So this is wrong. This is the reason is also correct. So this option is wrong. A is not correct, but R is correct. Wrong. both A and R are correct. And R is the correct explanation of A. Okay, both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. This is wrong, because R is actually the correct explanation of A. Colostrum is released during the initial period only, which is why during breastfeeding is necessary during the initial period. So A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. This is the correct answer, children. If you got it correct, give yourself +4 mark. This came in the year 2015. Yeah. Going ahead, what do we have? What is true about cleavage in fertilized egg in humans? Cleavage in the fertilized egg. What do you mean by fertilized egg? It is a zygote, children. Fertilized egg matlab zygote. It's as simple as that. When the egg is there, it comes, fuses with this sperm. This egg is now known as fertilized egg, or you call this as zygote. Okay? And they are asking what is correct about the cleavage. Cleavage as in division. I told you, right? From zygote it forms a 2-cell stage, from 4-cell stage, and then 8 to 16. Lots of cells are there. Okay. This process of making more cells is known as cleavage. Now it starts while the egg is in the fallopian tube. It starts when the egg reaches the uterus. It is meroblastic. It is identical to the normal mitosis. Children, it will be starting in the fallopian tube itself, because the fertilization, so suppose this is a fallopian tube, this is the uterus. Okay, the fertilization happens in the ampulla region. Then we have isthmus and everything. So basically at this point of time, fertilization happened, zygote is formed. Now it slowly start to divide in the fallopian tube itself. So this is the correct answer. There is no much of brainstorming in this particular question. So I'll just mark it correct. This is an easy question. Okay, this came in 1994. Going ahead. Freshly released human egg has 1 Y chromosome, X chromosome, 2 X chromosome, 1 X chromosome, and 1 Y chromosome. So please remember, they are asking about human egg. An egg is basically what? The ovum, and the ovum is released by females. They have not mentioned the sex. That does not mean they have not told anything. They have mentioned there is ovum. So ovum is for female. And ovum, obviously, if you know, the ovum will always contain XX chromosome, whereas the sperm, it contains 1X and 1 Y chromosome. So you tell me what is the correct option. 1 Y chromosome, 1 X chromosome, 2 X chromosome. Yeah, this is the correct answer. The females will always have 2 X chromosome, whereas the males will have 1 X and 1 Y. Again, this is an easy question, my children. I think that you got it correct. This came in the year 1991. Going ahead, cells become variable in morphology and function in different regions of the embryo. The process is known as, tell me. Cells become variable in morphology and functions in different regions of the embryo. What do you call this thing? When basically a cell is attaining maturity, it knows what it has to become. It is getting, what do you call this? You call this differentiation. It is getting differentiated into this particular thing. That is what you mean by that. So the correct answer is differentiation. There is no need to explain much more about it. As I said, differentiation means, okay, as of now, for example, I was a child. I thought I want to be a teacher. At this point, I am differentiating into a teacher. Now I know my fate, what I want to. So similarly, the cells basically in the human embryo, they will now decide, okay, I will become a skin cell. Okay, or I will become an RBC. So this process where it knows its fate, this is known as differentiation. It is now differentiating into that particular cell. Okay, so as I said, here morphology and function. Obviously, for doing certain function, you have to change your cell structure as well. Right? RBC and WBC do not look the same. They are different in structure because their functions are different. Okay, RBC does not have lots of cell organelles, whereas WBC has. Because RBC cannot accommodate cell organelles, it has to carry more and more hemoglobin, which is why it compromises with certain cell organelles. Now, it is the function to carry hemoglobin so that the oxygen can be carried very easily. Now, for doing this particular function, it has to change its morphology. Now, this is why we say the process is known as differentiation. It is getting differentiated. It came in the year 1989, and this particular statement is given in your NCERT textbook as well. Okay. The 10 questions are over. Now we have 20 more questions. Let's see. Gonads develop from the embryonic. You tell me. Gonads develop from the embryonic. If you have seen my class, you will be able to answer this. Ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. What? Basically, there are 3 germ layers. Okay, there are 3. If you do not know, the inner cell mass which is there. Okay, children, there is something that is known as inner cell mass in an embryo. Okay, and this inner cell mass will divide into 2 things, hypoblast and epiblast. This epiblast later divides into 3 things, that is outer ectoderm, then mesoderm in middle and endoderm inside. And these 3 germ layers will be giving rise to the different parts of a human body. Okay, and it is asking about gonads. What do you mean by gonads? Gonads are those organs which produces the gametes. So testis is a gonad, ovary is a gonad because ovary gives out ovum, testis gives sperm. So those are the gonads. Now gonads are formed from which of these layers? It is formed from mesoderm. Okay, this is formed from mesoderm. This is the correct answer. Now for making you remember this, I do not have any option. You can take a screenshot of this thing. So gonads, muscles, dermis, kidney all developed from mesoderm, okay, the middle layer. Okay. So gonad is there inside, muscle is also there inside, dermis is there inside, kidney is there. Okay, I can make you remember this thing. So mesoderm is responsible for all your physical things. You can remember like that. Okay, all your physical aspects. So basically, gonad is there. For example, testis is there. So the person who have a testis, obviously for them muscle growth will be in more amount. Even though females can also do it. Okay, so muscle will be there. Now, if you look about females, their dermis, their skin will be so good. So you can remember like that. In a way, you have to remember somehow. Okay, that I think, yeah. That is the only way that you can remember it. But you can come up with your own ways because I am clearly not doing it well. So gonads, muscle, dermis and the kidneys develop from mesoderm. Ectoderm produces epidermis. Okay, that is the outermost skin layer. Okay, dermis comes below that. And glands, nervous system, and also gives rise to conjunctiva, cornea, lens of the eye lens. This is a very important question. Eye lens is getting developed from what, children? Again, it's ectoderm. Pancreas, lining of urinary bladder, etc. develops from the endoderm. So these 2 things are very chotu sa. So you can remember this. This is everything apart from that. You can remember like that. Okay. So 2 of the major things are being formed from here only. Ectoderm, nervous system and the epidermis, the skin. If both of them are not working, obviously we won't be protected. Okay. So that is there, and lens is also eye lens is important. We cannot walk around with that. So that is also there. So everything very important is coming under ectoderm. It's not like that. Both of them will also have important things, but again it's a way to remember. So gonads, muscle, dermis and kidney from the mesoderm. Pancreas, lining of the urinary bladder, everything from the endoderm. So lower things, everything from the endoderm. You can remember like that for now. I know it's complicated, but we have to study this. So take a screenshot of this. I think that will help you guys. Going ahead, what do we have? Yeah. Identify the human developmental stage shown as well as related right place of as well as related right place of its occurrence in a normal pregnant woman and select the right option for the 2 together. Okay, so we have to find what is this particular structure and then where is it found. Okay, so according to me, this is known as blastocyst. Blastocyst, why? Because blastocyst has a hole in middle which is known as, the cavity is known as blastocele. Okay, and this thing that you see, this is the inner cell mass that I was talking about, which divides into hypo and epiblast, and this outer layer which you see is known as trophoblast. Now, where is it found? Where is it found? Let's go to the next picture. This is given in NCERT. A thing that you see over here, where is A? This is the ovum. Ovum comes in the ampler region, gets fertilized. C is going to keep on dividing into 2, 4 and then morula E over here itself. So morula is found in the fallopian tube itself. Going ahead, the cell is now going to move towards the uterus. And now as you see over here, the G thing is the blastocyst. This is the G thing, and G is getting implanted in the uterus. There is a sentence given in your NCERT. Morula continues to divide and transform into blastocyst as it moves further into the uterus. So when it moves further into the uterus, basically it is giving rise to blastocyst. So blastocyst is being formed in the uterus itself. Okay, now let's see. And this blastocyst, as I said, it will now go and attach to the uterine wall, as you see over here. This is getting implanted in the uterine wall. Fine. So option is late morula, no, and middle part of the fallopian tube, no, it's not late morula, because morula has 8 to 16 cells, not more than that. Then blastula, end part of the fallopian tube, also, this is also wrong, okay, because this is not something that is given in our NCERT. This is also wrong. Blastocyst, a uterine wall, so it is obviously getting implanted into the uterine wall, so this could be correct. 8-celled morula, starting point of fallopian tube, no. First thing, starting point of fallopian tube does not have 8-celled morula. Morula is always there over here towards the end of the fallopian tube. So this is wrong, children. What is the correct answer? It is blastocyst, and it is in the uterine wall. Okay, I hope it's clear. Going ahead, this came in the year 2012. Okay, so be very cautious when you are seeing the diagrams. Make the diagram, write it, make it somewhere, write it where is it found in the occurrence, like morula at the end of the fallopian tube, and then blastocyst is in the uterus, it's getting implanted in the uterus, everything of that sort, and fertilization happens in the ampulla region, everything. Okay. Next thing, the test tube baby program employs which one of the following technique? So test tube baby, as in vitro fertilization, that is, fertilization is happening outside the female body. Okay, in vitro means in lab. In vitro means in the lab. Okay, now in the lab when it is happening, obviously the zygote will be formed in the lab itself. So this zygote has to be put inside the female body. Agree? So where will you put the zygote? The zygote, the right place for the zygote, as I said, it is the ampulla, right? It is in the fallopian tube. So it has to go to the fallopian tube. Now let's see the option. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection, it is a very debated topic. I'll just keep it for like that as of now. Intrauterine insemination. So intrauterine insemination is when, okay, there are no so many numbers of sperm, and now the sperm is being taken from the donor or from the same person, because the motility of the sperm was also less. Over here what is happening, basically the sperm taken from the donor or anyone is being put inside the uterus, because insemination does not happen properly, ejaculation does not happen properly, it cannot move around in the normal condition, which is why this is being assisted. Okay, so inside the uterus this particular sperms are being put. But in IVF, in test tube baby, do we need to put the sperm inside the female body? Obviously no, because everything is happening outside. So this is wrong. Gamete intrafallopian transfer, as in you are putting the gamete. So again, if you are putting the gamete, do you need to put the gamete there? Fertilization is anyways not happening inside the female body, it's happening in the lab. So again, that is also wrong. Zygote intrafallopian transfer, that is ZIFT. Yes, this is happening because zygote is formed in the lab and this has to be put in the fallopian tube back again. That is what you mean by test tube baby. Over here, fertilization is the only thing that happens outside. Rest everything is happening inside. The formation, implantation, everything is happening inside the uterus. Okay, now why did I say that this is very complicated, this thing? So in your textbook they have not mentioned about intracytoplasmic sperm injection as a part of test tube baby program, because when I went to the lab, okay, when I did my internship there, okay, college internship, so I saw that this egg and the sperm are being fused with the help of intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Then only fertilization will happen. But since it is not given in your NCERT as a part of the test tube baby program, let's also make it wrong. But someday probably they'll correct themselves. So this is the correct answer for it. And what do you mean by intracytoplasmic sperm injection? Basically what happens, if this is the egg, with the help of an injection, the sperm is being put inside the egg so that fertilization can happen. That is what you mean by intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So that is responsible for fusion. Okay, and then after fusion you can put it into the female body again. So anyways, this is the correct answer. This came in the year 2012. So please remember, when this option is there, please don't go with this, please go with this. If they have any problem, if someone challenges the question, obviously they will change, but you will get your answer. Okay, you will get your mark, sorry. Yes. What is the work of progesterone which is present in the oral contraceptive pill? So the pill works on the basis of two things. Basically, if you talk about pills, always remember they work on two bases: no ovulation, no implantation. They does not allow ovulation, it does not allow implantation. As you know, when progesterone has been put, now if progesterone has been put, we just studied that progesterone is not liking LH and FSH, right? So when progesterone is being put from outside, this goes and acts on GnRH and says, please stop your secretion, we do not want your secretion. Now when GnRH is stopped, obviously FSH and LH is stopped. If FSH and LH is stopped, especially LH, then can ovulation happen? Ovulation would not be happening, because LH surge is needed. LH has to increase in amount, that's when ovulation will happen. Now if you are giving progesterone initially itself, obviously ovulation will be inhibited, and implantation thing is not there over here, so let's not focus on implantation, let's just say ovulation, no ovulation. To inhibit ovulation, this is the correct option that we have, and this came in the year 2000. Okay, to check oogenesis, to check entry of sperm into cervix and to make them inactive, this is all secondary function of progesterone and everything that comes in IUDs. But yes, as of now we don't need to go ahead with that. This is the primary function. Okay, works. Now, which of the following statement is correct with reference to a test tube baby? Fertilization of the egg is effected outside the body. The fertilized egg is then placed in the womb of the mother, where the gestation is completed. Gestation as in the formation of the whole embryo cycle is completed. Okay. Okay. Fertilization of egg is effected in the female genital tract. That means in the female body itself. It is then taken out and grown in a large test tube. So just imagine a situation where in the test tube babies are being born. No, that is wrong. Okay, this is absolutely wrong. A prematurely born baby is reared in an incubator. No children. This is also wrong. Fertilization of egg and growth of an embryo are effected in a large test tube. Again, something that is not possible to imagine also. So the correct answer will be this. As I said, fertilization happens in the lab, which is what you mean by test tube baby. It's not like inside the test tube you are making the baby. Test tube basically is present in the labs, which is why it is known as test tube baby. That's all. Okay. So in 1994 it came, and the answer is A. Going ahead. 16. Which of the following is hormone releasing IUD? What do you mean by IUD? IUD stands for intrauterine device. Intrauterine devices. Agree? Now, what does IUD do? IUD basically are of three types. Okay. One will be non-medicated, where they just put inside the female uterus. Okay, so it is obviously put inside the uterus, which is why it is known as intrauterine, and it makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation to happen. So for example, something non-medicated, as in for example lipase loop. Lipase loop is just something foreign, does not release anything. This might be something foreign. So anything foreign, when it comes inside our body, our white blood cells and everything gets activated, or basically the endometrium lining, which is already there in the uterus, it becomes thickened, it becomes inflamed. Now seeing this, all the cells will come, what happened, and it will create more problems in the uterus. Basically it won't be suiting implantation. The embryo won't be able to come and implant over there. It's not like we will be facing lots of trouble. No, we won't even know about that. It's happening in the uterus, and it's a very mild process. So that is what you mean by non-medicated. An example is lipase loop. Okay, then comes something which is known as copper releasing, or basically non-hormonal, and the example of them is copper releasing IUDs. So copper releasing IUDs as in Cu7 and everything. So Cu copper 7 as in it's in shape of 7, and it releases copper, and this copper actually messes up with the sperm motility. Sperm won't be able to move because it makes some changes in the sperm, which is why sperm won't be able to move. And now if sperm is not able to move, can it go and fertilize? No. Okay, and also it makes the uterus again not capable of implantation. Now multi-load 375 is also the same thing. It is also coming under copper releasing thing. It has 375 mm of copper, works on the same principle. LNG20, it is the hormonal one, which is the third category. So there is hormone releasing IUDs. How do they work? So hormone releasing IUDs basically works on the basis of progesterone, which is a hormone, synthetic hormone. So progesterone is a natural hormone, progesterone is a synthetic hormone, and it basically again messes up with the implantation. Implantation of the embryo won't be happening, okay, even if fertilization would happen. Second thing, there is something like known as cervix. So if this is the uterus, this area is known as cervix. So there will be a cervical plug which will be formed, which won't be allowing the entry of sperm in there. This is the function of hormone releasing IUD. So apart from making the uterus incapable of implantation, apart from that it does this also, and LNG also comes in this particular category. So LNG20 is the correct answer. It came in the year 2016. If you got it correct, give yourself plus 4 marks. Ma'am is actually tired. Just give me a second. Yes. 17. A childless couple can be assisted to have a child through a technique called GIFT, G-I-F-T. The full form of this technique is gamete internal fertilization and transfer, germ cell internal fallopian transfer, gamete inseminated fallopian transfer, gamete intrafallopian transfer. Basically, this is a childless couple. They do not have a child, and they are getting assisted with the help of this particular procedure. And the correct answer for this is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Basically, the problem is that the woman who might be there might not be able to produce the gamete, that is ovum, okay, but she has all the features of getting this embryo implanted, or everything else is really good. She can conceive a baby, apart from the fact that there won't be much amount of gametes being released in her body. So what do? Basically, other person who has enough amount of gamete can give the gamete to this particular lady. Okay, understood? So over here we have a lady who can conceive, but no ovum is there. There is another lady who has everything and want to, or maybe do not have everything, but obviously can produce the ovum, which is the gamete. So what do? We take gamete from this particular lady, put it into the fallopian tube of the other lady, because gamete has to be there in the fallopian tube, right? Because gamete, when it stays in the fallopian tube in the ampulla region, that's where the fertilization will be happening, nowhere else. So it has to be put in the fallopian tube. So this process where gamete is put inside the fallopian tube is known as gamete intrafallopian transfer. This is the correct answer. It came in the year 2015. Can you imagine this easy question is coming? So will you want to lose your marks over here? I don't think so. Going ahead, what do we have? Which of the following sexually transmitted diseases is not completely curable? Tell me, children. Tell me. Chlamydiasis, gonorrhea, genital warts and genital herpes. Which one is not completely curable? There are two diseases which are incurable. One is AIDS, another one is herpes, that is genital herpes. The answer is this one. Rest everything can be cured in some or the other ways. So as I said, there is AIDS and genital herpes which are incurable, which comes under sexually transmitted infection. So the answer is this. This came in the year 2019 in NEET. Okay, going ahead. 19th question. The technique called gamete intrafallopian transfer is recommended for those females. You tell me the answer. Without even telling about the options, you can tell me the answer. Who cannot produce an ovum, who cannot retain the fetus inside the uterus, whose cervical canal is too narrow to allow passage for the sperms, who cannot provide suitable environment for fertilization. Tell me. Who cannot produce an ovum? This is the correct answer. Some children can go and tick the other one, I know that. This one. who cannot produce, whose cervical canal is too narrow to allow the passage for sperms. For children, for entry of sperm, there is intrauterine insemination there. You do not have to put gamete intrafallopian transfer, and especially it is intrafallopian transfer. So fallopian tube is there in females, and over here you're putting the gamete, it has to be an ovum, that's all. Remember like that. Okay, so as I said, the person who cannot produce an ovum, that person will undergo this thing. 20th question. Which of the following causes plague? Tell me, plague is what kind of diseases? Is it caused by a bacteria, virus, or a protozoan? First thing, it is caused by a bacteria. Now, plague is caused by Yersinia pestis. Okay, and this pestis travels on this guy, that is Xenopsala. This is a fly. Okay, flea. This flea will go and come and bite us. Okay, first thing, Yersinia pestis will be there in the stomach, in the rat. Okay, now rat is being bitten by this particular flea. Okay, now flea comes and bites us also, gives us this pest, that is Yersinia pestis. It causes plague, and plague is a disease that will make your lymph nodes swollen up. Okay, it messes up with your lymph nodes. It will create lots of trouble, but yes, we have come across with something to solve this issue. So this is the answer, Yersinia pestis for plague. Which of the, okay, one more thing, it causes black death. It used to cause black death. Why black death? Basically I said no, it forms lumps in your lymph nodes, and slowly these lumps turn into black color. It's okay, there will be black pigmentation there, which is why it is known as black death. Now, which of the following pair of diseases is caused by virus? Rabies, mumps, cholera, tuberculosis, typhoid, tetanus, AIDS, syphilis. So let me break this down for you. Cholera is caused by bacteria, that is Vibrio cholerae, if you remember. Tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculae. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Tetanus is caused by Clostridium tetani. All of them are bacterial diseases. Okay. AIDS is caused by HIV virus. Syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum, okay, which is a bacteria. Now your question is, which among them is caused by virus? So obviously this will be wrong because only one viral disease is there. This is also wrong, this is also wrong. We are left with rabies and mumps. So both of them are not given in your textbook. Agree? It's not given in your NCERT textbook. But all these things are there in your NCERT textbook. Yeah, so you know the answer. If you know all this thing which is given in your NCERT textbook, you can give out the answer, that is this one. Or if you already know that rabies is caused by rabies virus and mumps is caused by another one. So basically this is the correct answer. Came in the year 1996. It can be repeated anytime. This is 21 question. Going ahead, what do we have? Which is showing accurate pairing? AIDS is caused by, okay, let's start with this. Syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum. I just told you this is caused by Treponema pallidum. It's the actual pairing, but let's see others also. AIDS is caused by Bacillus conjugalis. No, it is caused by HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria. I hope Neisseria. Typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi. Salmonella typhi. So syphilis is the correct answer. Okay, syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum, and this was, syphilis is there, the term syphilis is there where? In the reproductive health chapter. Okay, this came in the year 2000. Going ahead to 23rd question. Which one of the following is not the function of placenta? Facilitate supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. Obviously, it has two-way process. Give oxygen and nutrition, take back the waste. So this is correct. This is facilitates the removal of carbon dioxide and waste. This is also correct. Secretes oxytocin during parturition. Secretes estrogen. This is also correct. I told you there are 4 hormones being released by your placenta: HCG, HPL, estrogen, progesterone. 4. This is not the function of placenta. Oxytocin is released by the pituitary gland. Okay, this came in the year 2013, and this is the 23rd question. Going ahead, what do we have? 24th question. In a normal pregnant woman, the amount of total gonadotropin activity was assessed. The result expected was. So, in a pregnant woman, what could be the gonadotropin activity level? Let's say high level of circulating FSH and LH in the uterus to stimulate implantation of the embryo. We know it's wrong. We do not want high level of FSH and LH. If high level of FSH and LH is there, it could not be responsible. Obviously, when progesterone is being released, which is the one that maintains the endometrium, it lowers down the level of LH and FSH. So, obviously, this is not possible. High level of circulating HCG to stimulate the endometrium lining. Okay. Partially correct. High level of FSH and LH in the uterus to stimulate endometrium lining. Wrong. High level of circulating HCG to stimulate estrogen and progesterone, and this is correct. So, this is the correct option. I told you previously also, even though HCG makes the endometrium lining thicken, but it is because of estrogen and progesterone. If they are not there, obviously that won't be happening. So, this is also wrong. And this question, we solve it initially also in a different pattern. So, you see how questions are reframed. Came in the year 2012. We have 6 more questions. Which of the following immunoglobulins does constitute the largest percentage in the human milk? And this was the question that I was wanting to ask you from so long. So, we discussed that babies, they need the colostrum, and colostrum is the initial milk that is being produced from the female. This colostrum will be rich in what? IgA, immunoglobulin A. So, just remember, initial period, what is the first letter of the alphabet series? A. And the initial one, A. You can remember like that. Okay. It came in the year 2015. If you got it correct, give yourself +4 marks. Ectopic pregnancies are referred to as. Okay. So, I'll tell you. Then we'll go ahead with the options. If you know the answer, comment down. So, ectopic pregnancy is when baby is being formed anywhere apart from the uterus. As simple as that. The fallopian tube or anywhere else. And it is very risky for the mother and the child. Okay. Now, the correct answer is there in the first option only. Implantation of embryo other than the uterus. Implantation of defective embryo in the uterus. Pregnancy terminated due to hormonal imbalance. Pregnancies with genetical abnormality. This one. Implantation of embryo at a place other than the uterus. That is what you mean by ectopic pregnancy. The term ectopic pregnancy is given, I think, in reproductive health chapter. Okay, so this is how the question could be framed. This came in the year 2015. Okay, 27th question. Given below are 4 methods A and D and their modes of action in achieving contraception. Select the correct matching from the 4 options. So, the pill, what does the pill do? Pill, as I said, works on 2 principles, ovulation and implantation. Basically, ovulation is there, let's go for ovulation. Condom prevents the sperm reaching the cervix. Yeah, because it is a physical barrier. So, obviously, it will be preventing the sperm to reach the cervix. Vasectomy, semen contains no sperm. So, in vasectomy, again, the semen is being produced, okay, because seminal vesicle, everything is doing its production. Seminal vesicle, bulbourethral, prostate, everything. But the vast difference is being cut, right? The vast difference which carries the sperm from the testis is being cut. So, obviously, no sperm could go ahead, but all the other secretions are being secreted from the glands which are present over here. Okay, so the seminal plasma will be there, but no sperm will be there. So, that is why it is said, and seminal plasma, that is the secretion of the glands, plus sperm is what you call as semen. So, this is the correct option. Copper T. What is left? Implantation. So, copper T, as I said, it is not allowing, any copper inducing IUD does not allow implantation to happen. Done. So, A with 4, no, A with 3, A with 3. You have 2 options, A with 3, one is this, one is this. B with 1. Let's see, B with 1. So, we have got the correct answer. C with 4, is it correct? Yes. And D with 2. That's how you try to find the answer. You don't have to find each of them. First try to solve here and then go match there. This came in the year 2008. 3 more questions, children. Fetal sex can be determined by examining the cells from the amniotic fluid by looking for. Now these terms, just a second, where were we? Now these terms might be very complicated for you, but trust me, it's very easy if you studied with me in this session. Okay, so basically, if this is the baby that is being growing and this is the amniotic fluid, then what happens? Certain cells from the baby's body will be shedding down and will be present over here. Now this is taken up, these cells are being examined, okay, and when the nucleus of this particular baby is being checked, you get to know the chromosome, the sex chromosomes and everything like that, right? So basically what happens, you know that female have 2 X chromosome and male have 1 X chromosome, so X and Y. In the female, this 1 X chromosome becomes inactivated and it turns into something like this, which is known as bar body. So if the nucleus has bar body being present over there, that means this particular child is going to be a female. But in male, there is no extra X chromosome, it will stay like that only, that there won't be no bar body. So you won't be able to find the bar body over there, okay, in the nucleus. So basically this is how the sex is determined with the help of amniocentesis, which is not obviously a recommended way to do so, but yes. Okay, so bar body is the correct answer and I explained this to you when I taught you. So if you got it correct, tell me, let me know that ma'am we got it correct, because I will be more than happy to know that you have attended the class and you know something, and on the basis of that you are doing a question. So this came in the year 1997. Going ahead with the next question, the permissible use of technique amniocentesis is for, that means what is permitted? Amniocentesis, okay, it's there, but again there are so many rules applied to it, and what is a permissible use? Okay, it is permitted for doing this. Detecting the sex of the unborn fetus, no, it is not permitted, even though you can do it. Artificial insemination, no. Transfer of embryo into the uterus of the surrogate mother, no children. Detecting any genetic abnormality, you can find the genetic diseases like Down syndrome, Klinefelter's, sickle cell anemia, Turner syndrome, anything with the help of the amniocentetic process, because again, as I said, you are seeing the genes, you can see the DNA. If you find any genetic abnormality, then probably you can decide what to do further. This came in the year 2010 and this is question number 29. Going ahead with our last question, which of the following is a correct statement? IUDs once inserted need not be replaced. It has to be replaced. Its span is up to 5 years, 7 years. Then if you do not want to conceive, then again you put that. So this is wrong. IUDs are generally inserted. So I'll write changed after 5 to 7 years, mostly 5 years only. Okay, IUDs are generally inserted by the user herself. No, you have to go to a doctor. IUDs increase phagocytosis of sperm in the uterus. Yes. IUDs suppresses gametogenesis. No. Gametes are formed. Fertilization could happen, but implantation won't be happening. And also, if the sperms comes in, they can undergo phagocytosis. So this is the correct answer. Phagocytosis, the cell will be eaten up. Phagocytosis. With this, we have completed the 30 questions. Now you tell me, children, how did you perform? Was it good? Was it average? Was it bad? If it was bad, please not worry. We still have time to work on our weak areas. I'm pretty sure that you are going to score really good. And people who have scored above 20, do let me know in the comment section. I will be so happy to see that as well. Now others who have got less mark, you also can comment it down if you think it's okay for you. Okay, I'll be more than happy to see your progress in the coming. For example, now if it's less, the next test it might be more. I can see your progress there. I'll be more than happy then also. So that's all, children, and also you can get the PDF of this particular thing if you join our WhatsApp channel. The link will be provided in the description box or in the comment section. Okay, so if you join the WhatsApp channel, you will be getting the PDF where I have written everything that I have solved over here. Okay, so that's all. Have a really good day, and do not forget to subscribe to Diksha Karnataka if you think that this particular video is useful and you want more of these kind of videos. Bye bye, take care, lots of love, bye bye.